Hey, welcome to my cashback webinar. Today I'm going to teach you how to be a cashback ninja. Now, I don't know where I'm going with this ninja theme, but since I did it for miles and for insurance, this is the cashback ninja webinar that you're watching. So in this video, I'm going to show you whether or not you should be a cashback user, and I think there are a few things you need to consider. Number one, okay, cashback versus miles. There are some pros and cons on both sides. So for cashback, I would say that it is quite troublesome to earn the cashback, whereas miles are actually quite easy to earn. But the other way around is true, which is when it comes to redemption, cashback is easy. You get your cashback and the story is done. Whereas for miles, you actually need to go through the trouble of converting your points to miles, then using your miles to redeem. So it's more troublesome at the redemption side. So cashback is harder to earn, but easy to redeem. In fact, almost no steps for redemption unless you're using one of the Citibank cashback cards. And for miles, it is easy to earn, however, it is much harder to redeem. And lastly, cashback is very easy to learn, whereas miles, there's a little bit of a learning curve because there's so many things involved, including the redemption process, waitlisting for flights, picking your frequent flyer program, etc. Right? So cashback, very straightforward. Everybody knows how to deal with cash. So it's very easy to learn. So there's some characteristics of cashback you should know before you embark on collecting cashback. Number one, it is easy, as I mentioned just now. Relatively straightforward. Once you get the hang of it, you know how to earn already. Okay, every month is the same thing. Not like miles, quite complicated. Cash is of course king, right? Miles, you can only use it for flights, and maybe if you have KrisFlyer miles, you can use it to redeem stuff on their shop, which is not very advisable. But cash is king. You can use cash towards anything. You can even put it in your bank account and save it. And for most good cashback cards, there's minimum spend to take note of, whereas for most miles cards, there aren't minimum spends to meet. And lastly, cashback is kind of boring, right? When you have miles, you can show off to people that you're going on business class, etc. Whereas cashback is something that, of course, is more prudent to some people, but there's nothing much you can show off. Yeah, so I think it's not very sexy to some people. So are you suitable for miles? I would say that if you can earn between 1.5% cashback and 4 miles per dollar, you should actually pick 4 miles per dollar because 1.5% cashback is really, really bad. And I think most people, they use 1.5% cashback cards because it's easy. There's no minimum spend and you can just earn the cashback and it offsets your statement at the end of the month. But the earn rate for 1.5% is actually very, very low. You are better off using a 4 miles per dollar card and then converting that to cashback if you think that miles are not for you. And usually the cashback you can get is like 2+%. And it's quite fast free. There's also no minimum spend for most 4 miles per dollar card. So if you are using a 1.5% cashback card, I'd rather you go and earn 4 miles per dollar. However, if you can increase your earn rate to around 6%, that's when cashback is more suitable for you, I feel, for most people, because 6% cashback versus 4 miles per dollar, I would say that 6% is more valuable. By giving up a 6% cashback earn rate and earning 4 miles per dollar, your each mile is actually 1.5 cents, and that actually makes your business class tickets quite expensive, so it might not be worth it to play the miles game, depending on your valuation of business class tickets. And I'll cover this in my miles webinar, so you can check that out if you're interested. But long story short, I feel like if you can get 6% cashback, then go for cashback. But if you are using 1.5% cashback cards, then go for 4 miles per dollar cards. So here are some ways I increase my cashback. And the number one thing you need to do is to optimize your spending strategy. Next, you also need to rely on apps to increase your cashback more. And there are also payment services that let you earn more cashback than you normally would. And lastly, we need to use high-earn cashback cards rather than those 1.5% cards. Now, it's very important to optimize your spending strategy when it comes to cashback cards because cashback cards have some issues, right? There is a minimum spend requirement, there is maximum spend limit, and there are also category limits. So this is why I think a lot of people pick 1.5% cashback cards because of the issues of cashback cards. But I would say no to drugs, say no to 1.5% cashback cards. There are ways to tackle the issues, and we can do things like prepayment, we can do things like splitting up the payments, and of course, we can strategize our recurring spend. So what I mean by this is, for prepayment, example would be groceries. Now, most people I think spend maybe $100, $200 per month if you're not a big household. And so you won't be able to reach the minimum spend of an $800 card like City Cashback card. Now this one gives 8% cashback, but you need a minimum spend of $800. Now you can simply buy gift cards, right? So you buy $800 or even $1,000 in a particular month, get your 8% cashback, and then you use the gift card over the next few months. This I have touched on some previous videos, so you can watch that if you want to. Now NTUC FairPrice actually has a gift card where you can buy and then top up value inside, and each time you top up, the expiry actually resets. So it's very convenient, and if you buy $10 of gift card value, you can actually use $8 and still have $2 left inside, unlike vouchers where you have to spend the full face value of the voucher. So this is one example where prepayment can help. And the next example would be your telco. Let's say you spend only $30 per month on your telco, whereas the City SMRT card actually gives 5% cashback if you pay your telco bills online, but you need to meet a minimum spend of $500, right? So again, some telcos let you prepay, so you can just pay $500 worth of telco bills, and then for the next year or so, you don't have to worry about telco bills anymore, and you have gained 5% cashback on that. Now, of course, this works better if your telco bills are higher. I think nobody really want to pay 2 years worth of telco bills, but I guess you can just pay for your entire family members' bills, and $500 should be maybe 5-6 months of 4 people's bills. Yeah, so get 5% cashback. I think this is a no-brainer thing. Just do it because 5% can be quite substantial. Or you can look at other cards like Maybank Family and Friends, which gives 8%, but of course that has some other terms and conditions to meet. One last example I have would be your gym or whatever service that actually lets you buy a package. There are cards like the OCBC Frank, UB Evo, and DBS Live Fresh, which gives like 5 to 6% of cashback. But again, you must meet a minimum spend. So most gyms will be happy to let you prepay your gym bills. I do that sometimes to reach the minimum spend of these cards to get my high earn rates. So prepayment is a very useful strategy for you to meet your minimum spend, especially let's say you're nearing month end and then you still have not reached your minimum spend. Just pay 1 or 2 more months of your telco or gym bills. But do take note that you are exposed to the credit risk of these companies, because let's say if your gym collapses next month, then if you prepaid 2 years worth, it's going to be quite risky. So try not to go crazy with this. But given how low the minimum spend is for most cards, I don't think you have to prepay that much for this to be an effective strategy. Now the next issue of cashback cards to tackle would be maximum spend limits per month, because most cashback cards, they max out at about $800 or even just $600 per month, and therefore we need to split up our bills. Now if you're buying something like a $600 massage package, most places will be happy to let you split up the bill, so you just spread it across different cashback cards and then you earn the high cashback rates on those. So that's something I do quite often. You can also use services like buy now pay later apps. Let's say a sofa costs $600, you want to split it 300 or whatever amount, use a buy now pay later app, which is very convenient because they let me split up bigger bill sizes, and then I can just use different cards to pay within the same month. It doesn't have to be over the next 3 months if you don't want to manage that prepayment. So splitting up a transaction and charging across different cards lets you earn a high cashback rate on the entire amount. This of course depends on your area of spend and whether or not the particular retailer allows you to do it. Most are happy to take your money this way. Now the last spending strategy to get around the issues of cashback cards would be to examine your recurring spend and then put them onto cards every month automatically. So for instance, if you examine your monthly spending and you realize that you spend about $250 on dining, $100 on telco, $200 on cab rides, let's say groceries $250, you would probably not deviate too much from this from a month-to-month basis, and then you can put them on a card like Maybank Family and Friends, because all these spending amounts actually fit nicely into the different category limits of the Maybank Family and Friends. Or you can look at how much money you can pay via PayWave and online each month, and if it fits within a certain limit, you can actually consider the OCBC Frank, UB Evo, or DBS Live Fresh, which splits the cashback between PayWave and online categories. So what I do is that I have a certain amount of online spending that I clock each month because I use it to pay my mobile bills, and then the rest will be my ordinary spending. When I go outside, I just pay for my dinner, pay for my stuff, etc., and everywhere except PayWave. So I have a very regular and predictable amount of spend within both categories, and then I get the high earn rate on these cards. Now we look at some apps to increase our cashback rate, and the first will of course be Shopback because it gives extra cashback for every transaction we make through their website or app, and this is a no-brainer. It's like free money on top of whatever cashback they earn on your card. And they also have Shopback Pay now, which stacks the cashback rate on your rewards card. So this is a no-brainer. Go and download it with my link so that I can get a referral incentive, and you can also get a sign-up incentive. The next will be Chris Plus. Now it looks like a mouse app, but the mouse inside the app can also be used as cashback, and therefore you shouldn't write it off just because it's a mouse app. And it actually has quite generous earn rates as well, up to 6% cashback on top of your credit card rewards. And of course, there are various buy now pay later apps. I will go into it in another video, so stay tuned for that. But generally, you can just use whatever app that the merchant offers, and then see whether there are promos, and of course to speed up your transaction to fit into your different cashback cards. And finally, we can also use payment services to increase the cashback that we earn. So cards like OCBC Frank, Maybank Platinum Visa, and Bank of China Family Card, these can earn us cashback on services like CardUp and iPayMy, and we can use it to pay our mortgage. And of course, there's a service fee to be paid for these services, but if our cashback rate is higher than the service fee, we are earning the difference on things like mortgage payment, which cannot normally be paid by your credit card. So this is another way to earn more cashback and offset the rising cost of living we face. And now we move on to the high-earn cards that we should be using, and we start off with the 8 to 10% cards. Now at this category, most of them come with a lot of conditions to meet. So I'll go through one by one to see which one can fit in your areas of spend. So the first tier is 10%, and that belongs to the CIMB Visa Signature, which gives 10% on things like beauty, groceries, online shopping, pets, and cruise for some reason. The issue is that each category is limited to $20 of cashback, and therefore you can only put $200 of spend on each category, and there's a minimum spend requirement of $800 per month. So if you spend all $800 on, let's say, the category of groceries, you only get $20, and that is obviously not 10%. So someone who gets 10% from this card has to be a pet owner, buying $200 worth of stuff for their pet, online shop for $200, buy a massage package for $200, and then buy $200 of groceries. Which is quite unrealistic. So 10% is actually quite hard to get. But I think what you can do is buy $200 of grocery vouchers, buy $200 of vouchers from pharmacy, which is included in the beauty category. I think you can top up your fair price gift card at Unity pharmacies, and that I think counts under beauty. You can also buy fair price vouchers online. So I think you can actually use this as a grocery card if you're willing to go through the trouble of getting supermarket vouchers from various places to meet the different categories. But as it is right now, 10% here is actually quite hard to get. So the next most realistic cashback we can get is maybe 8%, and that is groceries and petrol on the Citi Cashback card. That card is quite easy to use. I have a review which you can see. Maybank has 8% cashback on selected categories, and UOB One advertises itself to have 10% cashback, but I would say it's closer to 8+% on things like Shopee, Grab, and Dairy Farm merchants, which are your Giant, Cold Storage, 7-Eleven, etc. And 6% cashback, Citibank gives that on dining transactions. So these are the high earn rate cards that you can use if your area of spend fit into these cards. Realistically, I think most people should be able to get 5 to 6+% on cards like UOB Evo, OCBC Frank, and DBS Live Fresh, because these cards are quite easy to use, just PayWave and spend online, which most transactions fall under either of these categories. Or you can use something like the CTS card, which gives you 5% cashback on online transactions. Now the minimum spend is about $500 to $600 on these cards. So again, you need to strategize your spending to fit into the minimum spend and maximum spend of these cards. CD Cashback card in particular is a very good cashback card because it does not have a monthly cap, unlike most other high-end cashback cards. Instead, the cap is on annual basis, which means you can charge as much as $10,000 to $12,000 on this card and get 5% on the entire figure, which is something unique. No other cashback card can do this. You just need to use it on online transactions that does not involve travel and some other exclusions. Finally, I have a lazy card strategy for people who just can't be bothered with all the minimum spend and requirements of cashback cards, and that would be the good old CredPay MasterCard. Use your UOB Absolute for 1.7% cashback or the Amex True Cashback for 1.5% cashback, which is, I think, the only time you should use 1.5% cashback card, because you top up your Grab MasterCard and then you use your Grab MasterCard to spend, and therefore you earn 1.5% on the top up and then you earn Grab points on your spend, and can come up to about 2.9% total rebate if you are using the 1.7% UOB Absolute card. And during Grab challenges, of course, your earn rate also goes up. So around 3% for not much work, I think is better than 1.5% cashback, obviously. And yeah, you should not be using 1.5% cashback cards directly when there's a strategy like this. So lazy card strategy for people who are lazy. Now the last piece of card advice I'll give is to consider points cards rather than just write them off because they are not cashback cards. And an example would be the Amex Capital card, which from time to time actually gives more than 10% rebate on e-Capital voucher. And this is something that no cashback card can beat because you are essentially getting like 10+% cashback at Capital malls. And therefore, you should not write this off just because it doesn't look like a traditional cashback card. Another example would be the OCBC Titanium Rewards. Now, most people use this for miles, but the 10 times points it earns at electronic stores or departmental stores is actually equivalent to 3.7% rebate in the form of vouchers, or about 2.7% in terms of cashback. So if you use a 1.5% cashback card to buy a laptop because you realize, hey, none of my high-earned cashback cards can get the, can give me cashback on the entire laptop, you would be better off using the OCBC Titanium Rewards to get 10 times points and then use it to trade for 2.7% cashback, which is still significantly higher than 1.5%. And finally, if you need to buy air tickets or online hotel transactions, which again a lot of cashback cards are weak at, we can consider the DBS Women's World MasterCard, which gives 4 miles per dollar, or you can actually trade those 4 miles for 2% cashback. And DBS often runs promos where they increase the cashback rate to about 3%. So still much better than the 1.5% you would normally get with a 1.5% card. Now, if you want to find out more about all the different cards I've gone through, I actually written reviews for many of them, so I'll include the links in the description box below. And if you sign up through my website, you can get goodies for yourself and keep my site and YouTube channel going. So thank you for that. Now, if you have any questions, I would appreciate if you left them in the comments below, because each comment also helps boost this video to reach more people. If you like my content, join my Telegram group. They also discuss a lot about cashback cards and sometimes some hacks which cannot be shared so publicly. Yeah, so join there if you want to learn more about credit cards and promos in general. And if you like my content, do drop me a like, right? And I'll see you next video.